Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the United Stand. We are back with more updates on transfer sagas, everything that is going on in the transfer market. The last week of the January window it's officially here and it's all kicking off. I was with you guys late last night as the Martial news dropped. We've got that. We'll touch on that a bit more. Obviously, I need to introduce our guest. He's back on the show. It's been a while, but Haber, how are you doing, mate? You good?
I'm good, mate. Good to be back. It has been. It's been a long time.
It has. What was it about? Over 2 months nearly now, something like that.
I think my last show was the Atlanta home game. That was the last one I did.
Wow.
It's been a while. It's been tough with evenings clashing and times. It's been tough, but we're back.
We're back, and we got loads to talk about. Quickly, everybody, from last night, obviously, I had my issue with my cough. It's still there, but I have been to the doctor. I'm on antibiotics now. So, yeah, we're hopefully on the mend. Quite kick-ass ones as well. So, yeah, we're on it, and I'm covering it, people. So, let's get into it. Haber, mate, first of all, we're hearing Crystal Palace, Valencia, all interested in Donny van der Beek. Is Donny van der Beek going to be the next one out the door? We don't know, but it's looking like Ralph is putting blockers on this one because we're hearing possibly Lingard following Martial. We'll touch on them two in a minute. But first of all, mate, Donny van der Beek, we're still not seeing much of him. I think last time he was on, we probably said exactly the same thing, mate, back when we played at Atlanta. New manager, and we're still not seeing Donny van der Beek, mate. Do you feel like he should be pushing for a move? Do you feel like United should let him go if we're not going to use him? Because it's quite clear we're not going to, mate, isn't it?
I hope he goes. I hope he gets some loan time somewhere. Literally, last time I was on, we were saying the exact same thing. And, technically 2 new managers later, and the guy still can't get a start to save his life. It's horrible, man. Let the guy go. Give him some first-team football. Let him come back. Let him do a Lingard, essentially. I mean, we let Lingard go this time last year, and look what he did at West Ham. I think Donny's got as much ability as Lingard has, if not more ability. So I think that, doing the exact same thing, let him go to Palace or maybe Valencia and just let him get some minutes in a team and get his sharpness up, because I don't know why they're not starting him, but it's one of those catch-22s. He isn't going to get starts if he can't get game time to prove he's good enough for starts, right? He's in an endless cycle of just no game time, and it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks for him. We've talked about this a few times. Obviously, this conversation's come up a lot, and obviously it's a bit more relevant when a window opens, transfer window, but I think he's wasted 2 years of his career, mate. He went from Ballon d'Or nominee to actually destroying his career coming to United. It's a sad state of affairs that it's happening with our club, but we've seen it with other players before this has happened. Vieira at Palace, central midfield maestro, absolute dominant midfielder back in his day, mate. You'd have thought him alongside the likes of Gallagher, working with players like that, probably an ideal sort of move for him because he's going to get game time there. And like we said then, with Vieira and the way he looks at the game and how well Palace have done this season for his first season in the Premier League under Vieira, I think that probably, for me, I think that suits him down to the ground. We'll see what he's made of in the Premier League and a good run of games, won't we?
Yeah, I think that would be, if I could choose anywhere for him to go, it would be probably to Palace. I think they also wanted Ahmad at the start of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember that.
So, I mean, it would have been nice if both of them had gone there and got some link-up going. But, yeah, to see him in the Premier League would be ideal, to get some minutes in the Premier League, to see what he's about in the competition that we are also in, as opposed to in La Liga, where, he could shine in La Liga, but maybe it's a slower league or whatever arguments people have for saying the La Liga is not as good as the Premier League. So, yeah, to see him shine in that Palace team would be nice. And I think he would shine. I think he'd do really well. They've got some great young talent, like you said, Gallagher. They've got, I believe it's Eze, I think you pronounce it.
Eze coming back now as well from that injury.
As well. Is it Elise?
Yes, you're correct, yes.
They've got a lot of good talent, and I think he would do really well pulling the strings in that side. Please, I hope, give him some game time. Just let him go, please.
It's got to that stage, hasn't it? We're actually wishing players away just so we can actually see them play and see if we've actually got a player on our hands. And if we actually did have one, I think everything that we're looking at right now in the market, mate, is looking down that loan side of it. And this is why I think, like you said then, please let him go. Let's see if he's got game time, because going out, especially to a Premier League team, you're going to see, because all that's been talked about with Donny has been his lack of physicality. He needs to build up, bulk up, and be ready. Is he fully ready for the Premier League? This is, if you count Carrick, the third manager that's not really liked him and put him into his first team. But you're going to Palace, he is going to play, because I do believe he's better than most that are there. We're actually going to see if he's ready. And then, you know what? New manager coming in the summer, Haber, may look at it and go, watching Donny playing frequent football in the Premier League, he may come into the team and save us a fortune. It's probably a win-win if he does go on loan, isn't it, mate?
Absolutely. And if that manager is Ten Hag, like we've been hoping for, I know as United fans, I think it would be perfect. If Ten Hag came in, he's got the Ajax DNA. Obviously, Donny came from Ajax. The stars would align perfectly for him. And is Donny as good as we think he is? I think sometimes maybe we might tell ourselves he's better than what he is because of how little game time and how much we want him to get game time. But I can't think of anything more perfect than having Ajax manager come in, have Donny van de Beek come back from a loan if he's done well at Palace, and see how the start of the season goes for those two together. That would be absolutely perfect. But I mean, we know what this club is like. The issue is we know what this club is like, and I can't see. I don't know. I can see him staying, getting no game time, and potentially getting a permanent move in the summer. And that would hurt, I think.
Yeah, if Donny got game time, he would show up our midfield, says Mr. O'Connor there in the super chat. I mean, you look at it and everyone says the same thing week in, week out. We keep seeing Fred have these failings. We keep seeing Fred drop clangers, then cover it up by a moment of, I won't say brilliance, but the odd assist here and there or a goal like he did against Palace. Everyone's saying, well, this is what Fred does. I mean, is he any worse than what we've got? That conversation's come up a lot, but I do believe this, until he goes on loan, Haber, mate, I don't think we're ever going to know, because he is just not going to start, mate. And I can't understand why and what Ralph's thought process is, because Anthony Martial is exactly the same scenario, in my opinion. He could come in and he can do a better job than some of the players that are in that forward line right now. We know that. So why would you let him go but not let Donny go? Is it simply because we are so short in numbers in that midfield? And worst case scenario, if we get 3 injuries, Donny might get a game. I can't understand Ralph's thinking behind it, mate, because he's simply not going to use him. And Pogba's got to come back yet. And there's another midfielder in the way of him. So he goes down from 4th to 5th in the pecking order as such, mates. Can you see why Ralph's keeping him here?
I want to give Ralph the benefit of the doubt and say he's doing, because he knows this board is not going to make a signing in January. We're getting linked with this player, that player, this player, and they're all midfielders, but I don't see us making a signing in January. I don't think we'll get something done in a week. I think Ralph knows that. And I think that he's trying to hold on to as many players as he can in case we get an injury crisis. Because realistically, we have a big squad, but of players that you actually want to see in a United shirt at Old Trafford, how many in our squad? It kind of narrows down the numbers a lot. And I think that Ralph, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's trying to be smart and hold on to the talent he's got. But he has got to play. You can understand why, Martial wants to leave, why Donny wants to leave, why Lingard wants to go, because they know they're good enough players to play in the Premier League and they're not getting any game time. I think Martial was allowed to go because Sevilla agreed to pay his 240 grand a week wages. And to the Glazers, that is, that's ka-ching. That's dollar bills in their eyes. I think that's the only reason why Martial was allowed to go, to get that big wage bill off our books. But yeah, for Donny, I just think I don't think anything will change. I think we've been saying the same thing for so long now, and I think nothing will change. And eventually, he's just moving on a permanent, and it'll be sad because he'll go somewhere and he will shine. In my opinion, I think he really will, and it'll be another player that we've let go who has turned into a great player.
That's it. I kind of agree with that. Yeah, I do think Donny is that type of player that will leave United and do better. Not many do, but the fact that he's not played has to do better, really. It can't not, can it? Can't get any worse. Andy and Bruno in with a super chat. Cheers for that, mate. He said, Adam, that club will let Donny go. That would mean the Glazers would have to get a midfielder, which we need anyway, but they think we don't. True. Nitro says, Adam, United and Ralph have ruined Donny's career. I wouldn't say Ralph has, to be honest, because Ollie did stop Donny going to Everton in the summer. He did do that. And Ralph just walked into this mess. United, I agree, but not quite Ralph. I agree with what Haber said there when he said you got to trust Ralph in what he's doing. He's looking at it, shorter numbers in that position. And from his perspective, he has to keep everything around him. It's not his fault Donny is still there. If everything would have gone right in the summer, we probably would have seen Donny in an Everton shirt, and that's not Ralph's fault. And Red Baron, we are short in midfield as it is. If we get injuries, we are done. That's why Ranić is keeping him, I believe. I do believe in that as well, mate. I think he has to really look at it and go, we do need midfielders there if the worst case scenario happens. And we've seen that with a few teams already, Haber, mate, struggling with injuries. And all of a sudden, you're out there on the field with, well, it's not your first team. It's makeshift midfield, attack, defence, wherever the crisis is. I think the pressure that Ranić is under, I think he has to look at it that way, doesn't he, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best case study for it is you look at sort of Liverpool last year and their defender crisis, because they had the best defence in the league, won the Champions League with that defence, and in one season that completely crumbled. And I think that, although our midfield isn't the best, we've already got Pogba injured. He gets injuries quite frequently as well. If Bruno gets injured, Donny, I think, comes straight in at that number 10 spot, because if we do let Lingard go, we have literally no one else Juan Mata, 45-year-old Mata, is he going to get game time there? Probably not. I look at it and I think we are 2 or 3 injuries away from starting a midfield with the average age of about 60, because we're going to have Matic, we're going to have Mata, and then who does Shoretire drop into midfield? Not Shoretire, sorry, what's his name? Hannibal, sorry. Does Hannibal go into midfield?
Yeah.
He hasn't played in the Prem before. Do we start, getting these youngsters in there? I think I understand why Ralph wants to keep it, because he isn't going to get the backing from the board in January, and I imagine he's probably tried his hardest to get them to sign somebody, and he's found out how stubborn they really are. But I would, as much as I want Donny to get game time, I do fear we get a Liverpool sort of injury crisis or a COVID crisis, and all of a sudden we're kind of crying out for McFred to be back, because it could end up that bad.
Yeah, no, totally with you. Moving on from Donny, obviously, we're going to touch on what happened last night. I covered it, but I just want to get your opinion on it as well, Haber, mate. We got Martial pretty much on a plane right now, flying over to Seville to seal his loan move to Seville. 250k a week off the books. You mentioned it there. It equates to around about 4 million in wages that the Glazers are rubbing their hands together with taking off the books right now. Good move for Martial, in your opinion? I mean, he probably will get the game time he's looking for there. New league. Is it the right time to be going trying a new league? Do you reckon he should have tried to look closer to home or go back to France maybe? I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? But he is going to be the main man there, isn't it? And that's really what I think Martial thrives on.
Yeah, no, I think he'll be Sevilla's starting striker, or maybe even wants to play out on the wing. I don't know, but I think he'll be starting regularly for them. I do think it's a good move for Martial, because it's almost unfortunate, because after that game, he at West Ham, the late winner, I actually feel like he might have got a bit of game time, to be honest, for us. I feel like he might have started the next game. And had he have performed well, that might have been him getting a run of games for us. So it's almost a bit unfortunate that he's going, but he really wants the move away. I think he needs a fresh start. I think he needs to kind of compose himself and work on himself as well, because it's clear the environment at United around Martial is fairly toxic, and it's fairly for him personally, it's not a good environment for him to be in. And even if he was going to get a few games, he got booed when he came on, no player wants that. So I think, going to Spain, getting some game time in a league that I think he'll thrive in. I think, he could come back a new man. Do I think he will stay at United when he comes back? I don't know. I think that might be it for Martial at United now. That might be it. Might be done.
No buy option from Seville. Yeah. So come the summer, he will still be a United player. And like we said, mate, any chance with a Ten Hag, a Poch in the summer, the new man, could he look at Martial differently again and change it all up?
There's absolutely potential. And I would like it, because it was unfortunate with the comments recently about Martial apparently requesting not to be in the matchday squad, amongst other things. It had my I was a bit upset with Martial and a bit angry, but when I saw Martial in that Sevilla kit, it made all the kind of memories of that great season he had under Ollie with Rashford, where I think they both got 20 goals a season in that season. It reminded me of all the good things he's done at United. And it kind of made me a bit sad, really, because all of a sudden now I don't want him to go. I was happy for him to move on. I was like, if you want to leave so much, mate, you can piss off, you go. But as soon as I see him in a shirt that isn't United now, I don't know. I kind of want him to stay. I know that's obviously horrible because he deserves to be able to go if he wants to go, and he shouldn't have to stay because United fans now all of a sudden change their mind on him. But yeah, I hope now for him he has a good half season, a Lingard-esque half season, comes back and maybe fights for his place in the squad. And if not, maybe he's had a good enough season where we can get 20-30 million for him from somewhere as well. We'll have to see.
That's it, mate. If he does well, then his price tag's going to go up.
Exactly.
Maybe gives us an option. And then we take it from there. But officially, we're going to have to put Martial to bed because he is in that Seville shirt. That deal is done and dusted, and we are going to be watching him play and fighting up there in La Liga with the likes of Madrid and Barcelona. So we'll see Martial tested against a couple of the so-called bests. So it'll be good to see how he does. And I think all United fans will be watching and seeing and looking at Martial's progression, hopefully it's progression, and he does hit it off there because he is still a United player and we do have options. Yeah. One player that I think could be following him, mate, is our friend Mr. Lingard. I mean, he has gone to Dubai. He's gone training, warm weather training. You know what they're like, mate. They need these little winter breaks, these players, because they're so hard done to. They need to get training, get rested. He's there right now. Can you see Lingard coming back to Manchester, or is he flying right back into Newcastle, mate? Or is it anywhere else? It's looking like Newcastle are prepared to pay that fee, that $6 million fee, mate, for the loan. I mean, you add that up with Martial's fees and what we could be saving wage-wise. There could be money there. We'll talk about incomings in a minute. But first of all, Lingard, for you, I think this is one that a lot of fans have said had to happen and had to happen a lot sooner than what it is now, mate. But do you think it will?
Yeah, I think he'll go. I actually saw a video on Twitter earlier today, and it was someone having, I think a lot of people have seen this video now, someone having Ralph sign something, and they asked him about Lingard, and I think he said, he's off in the summer. But I think, to be honest, if we can get that $6 million, knowing the Glazers, he'll be out of contract this summer and he's not signing a new one. They'll probably take it. I think they will take it. I think they'll take the money and he'll be off. And I don't blame him. To be honest, we should have taken the 20-25 million we could have got for him in the summer, and used that on a midfielder. Unfortunately, our board can be a bit stupid and a bit naive and a bit they just don't see the bigger picture really. But it would have been a lot smarter for us to let him go as opposed to get 2 games out of him this season, get the 25 million and spend that somewhere that could have improved our midfield scenario. But instead, we kept him. And, we got a moment out of him. We got the West Ham goal out of him. So, that's great. But no, I think he'll be gone. The only reason I think he's in Dubai is because he's obviously close friends with Rashford and the likes of. And I think he's just gone there more so to kind of maybe spend some time or even say goodbye to him. Maybe it's a farewell trip, knowing that he won't be playing with them maybe ever again. So, you never
know, mate. The club might get a new banner out and put it up in the strip for them for him. Like we do, this sentimental side of the club that we've got.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's sad because it's a player that's grown up supporting United. It's a player that's United through and through, and it's a player that realistically, I think that we have failed. We've not failed necessarily because I think he had a couple of years where he personally wasn't on form, and maybe that was because of personal reasons and whatnot. But it was one of those where he could have been a player that we look at now and be like, wow, look at that youth talent, come through the youth system, United through and through, amazing player. But instead, he's not been given game time because Ollie had his favourites, and he's a bit like Donny van der Beek in that scenario, and he's going to go for a free, and he's probably going to go to Newcastle and maybe keep them up and then move on to another club. Maybe he goes back to West Ham in the summer for a free, or maybe he's going to have his pick of the bunch. A lot of them are going to want him. I can see teams like Arsenal going in for him. Like he's a good enough player, and I think we'll see him probably score a good 8 to 10 goals in the Premier League next season, maybe 5 to 8 assists, I can see him getting some good numbers, and it'll be rubbish because it's another player that we've just let go that we should have done better for, I feel like.
Yeah, he has been United through and through, like you said. He was misled by Ollie in the summer, but this man also posted a picture of himself in a West Ham shirt, giving it all, well playing for United, and that's why the fan base, they cling on to little moments and little things, and I think this is where Lingard needs to be. I think he does need to be out of Manchester United now. He's had his time, he's had his moments, he's given us some absolute belters. Yeah. I can remember being at Wembley a few times with Jesse Lingard absolutely stealing the show. So we'd like to thank him for that. And if he does go to Newcastle and then on to West Ham or wherever in the summer, he'll go with all the blessing of all United fans. But we need to move on. We need to look at it and go, he was part of a team that ultimately failed. So for me, it's these moves now that we're making in the window that need to be made. In terms of anyone else leaving, mate, can you see anyone else going right now? There's been rumours of Eric Bailly, Henderson. We've already touched on Donny. You see any of these players leaving, or do you reckon we're literally down with Martial, Lingard? That's probably going to be it.
I would like Henderson to move on. I don't think Bailly will. Again, that'll be another scenario. Although, it's nice to see Phil Jones step up, and he had a good game when he did play. It is very obvious that Ralph does not think that Phil Jones is a starting option right now, because I think he would have started him and again after that game. And I think that it was one of those times where it was just by chance that Phil Jones got a start, and I don't think he will play many, if any, games for us now before the end of his contract. So I can see him holding on to Bailly as a backup centre-back option with Lindelof if he's going to go back to the Varane and Maguire tag team that we to be fair, Maguire did actually play well as well. I thought Maguire had a good game against West Ham. But yeah, I can only see potentially Henderson. We had a great option. I mean, Ajax wanted Henderson on loan, and that would have been fantastic because we've heard so much about Ten Hag becoming potentially the next Man United manager. How great would it have been to send our potential next number one goalkeeper to Ajax to play under Ten Hag for half a season, get his wages off the books and give him starting game time for maybe our next manager so he can work with and see what he's all about. That would have been fantastic. But for some reason, again, we need 3 goalkeepers that are good enough to play in the Premier League. I mean, Heaton came to us from being a backup goalkeeper in the Premier League. Why can't he be our backup goalkeeper? We don't need a third keeper in Heaton. I don't think he is bad enough to be Lee Grant level of our goalkeeper. Lee Grant was our third goalkeeper. That we don't need Heaton. Heaton can happily be our backup goalkeeper. We don't need to hold on to Henderson on stupid wages after his new contract. De Gea on crazy wages and Heaton as well. It's silly, really. So for me, let Henderson move for the back end of the season. Give him a starting anywhere that would take him at this point. And have Heaton as our backup goalkeeper, in my opinion. Yeah, I agreed on that. I thought when Heaton came in, all he needed to get rid of or make a decision on Henderson or De Gea and get rid of one. But I agree with you on Eric Bailly. I think it would be suicide with the injury record of all our centre-backs already this season alone, all taking time out on the sidelines. Crazy to get rid of another player who has been fit, hasn't been injured, but just not used. It's crazy because everyone talks about Eric Bailly's fitness record, and it's probably the longest stint he's been without injury in his United career, and we can't get him in the team. But that's another story. I mean, Nitro there, just a quick super chat on Donny. Donny didn't play under Ollie, and we hope we'd see it under Ralph. However, it's the same story. Why Ralph is picking Fred or Matic, but not Donny. A lot of people are angry regarding that one. They would rather see Donny play, but like we said, there is something with Donny that isn't clicking with these managers, and I don't know what it is. It'll be a mystery. I don't think we'll find out until Donny releases a book or something like that. I just think it's going to be kept under wraps for years to come. But we talked a minute ago then about fees, what we could get from Martial, Haber. So loan fees for Martial and Lingard, if both went, could round up to 10, 12 million, saving the wages. Does that give you any confidence at all that we may try and squeeze a midfielder in, or are you sticking with the
no, club are saving the money. They're going to wait till the summer and the new man. We're not bringing anyone in January. Or do you feel like there is that slight chance if they did raise a little bit of money from a possible Lingard Martial double?
No, I think I don't think we will see this club make a signing in the next week. I would love for it to happen. I would, and I've been following all the transfer news about Kamara or Zakaria or any midfielder under the sun. You know, I'm as far as looking at news in the Serbian fourth league about some star midfielder who could come. You know what I mean? But no, I don't think we will. I don't think we'd even sign a player on a free at this point. That's how. Little faith I've got in the board at the moment. I think that they will take the money, they will somehow get it into their dividend check, and they will withdraw it out of the club as they always do, which is sad because I would love for a new player to come in. I think to touch upon that super chat a minute ago with the Donny front, I think Ralph, I can see why Ralph might not be playing Donny, because at the moment Ralph is trying to implement a new system into these players, and I think it'll be incredibly hard to implement a new system to all of the players and also try and mold a player into a position that he isn't really, established in. As much as we know Donny can play in an 8 or potentially a 6 with the right players around him, he hasn't yet. And I think that it would be quite difficult to try and mold him individually at the same time as try and get this squad playing into the system that Ralph wants. So I think he's playing the players that he knows are relatively established in the positions he needs. And I think maybe in the summer, we might see Donny try and get molded into it, the kind of player that we would love to see him as. But at the moment, I think it'd be a bit difficult to try and do both at the same time. I would love to see somebody come in. More so, I want to see somebody come in to try and fight for their position. Because I thought of the players that I've seen recently try and fight, Alanga's looked really good. And it's clear he's trying to fight for that first team spot. I thought Phil Jones, when he played, looked really good because he was also trying to fight for more game time, even as much as Harry Maguire. I thought Maguire against West Ham, he was throwing his body into challenges. He was throwing himself here and there. He looked like a man possessed. He was trying to fight for his place after a few games on the bench. So I would love a bit more of that. Bring somebody in that maybe, if it's a Kamara, they're coming from, maybe they're coming from the Liga or the Bundesliga who are coming to a big club like United and see if we can have a player like that fight so hard for their position that, we get a solid midfielder out of it. Because at the moment, for the last, I would say 6-7 games, I think we looked a lot better against West Ham and in the second half against Brentford, I thought we looked good. But before then, it felt like complacency a lot, and the players weren't asked. It just felt like they didn't care. They know they're getting their paycheck. They don't give a shit. And that's the mentality that unfortunately cripples clubs.
Is it, mate? Talking about mentality, Portuguese power there in with a super chat says, Adam, you think Ronaldo coming in has anything to do with certain players being moved? Players, the mentality have checked out. Also whispered in Ralph Rangnick's ear. I mean, we all knew. When Ronaldo came in, we talked about this, Haver, mate, about Ronaldo coming in and looking at the United from what he once knew, and then coming into this and the mess we've seen. We have seen sort of rumours, we've heard rumours, we've seen antics on the pitch from Ronaldo, obviously not happy. And you've got to look at it and go, surely someone of that standing, that sort of standard of football and what he's done in the game has to have come in and looked at some of these players and the mentality of some of these players and gone, and as a senior player, you'd expect a manager to go to him and actually ask, and he will. He's not scared of giving his opinion. We know that, Ronaldo. But do you reckon he has sort of got into a few of these players? And it hasn't been. I remember Jesse Lingard loving at the start of the season, actually being able to train. I remember all that talk with Ronaldo, his hero. Could have backfired on a few of these players because it was touted as the holiday summer camp, our training ground, and everyone had it easy. Someone with the standards of Ronaldo come in and ruffled a few feathers, and it's probably put them more in the spotlight because instantly when Ronaldo came in, we've seen a lot of things going on behind the scenes. We've seen a lot of rumours coming out, and I think he has had an impact in this side of things. I mean, I've been into Ronaldo recently. Don't think in his performances have been as good as what I hoped, but ultimately, mate, he hasn't been here for so many years, failing season in, season out. He's come in and expected more. Do you reckon he has had a say, or I think he's whispered in Ralph's ear. I don't think he's done that. Get rid of this player, get rid of that. But surely if a player like Ronaldo coming in would have had an impact, good way or bad way. And I think we're seeing the good and the bad in terms of the younger players. Like you just mentioned, the Lingard coming in, settling in straight away alongside of Ronaldo. I mean, he's showing no fear. So, and then we're seeing players like Jesse Lingard not getting into the team. You could say Martial, not happy with it. We've heard rumours that Maguire hasn't been happy with Ronaldo coming in as captain. I think it's what needed to happen, mate. But I'm not going to put it all on Ronaldo, but had to have some effect, really, didn't it?
Yeah, I think the way he said it, he definitely ruffled feathers. I think that's a perfect way to see it. I look at it as, I mean, we never saw Ollie angry, right? And I think that is a big telltale sign as to how Ollie ran United. A lot of the players mentioned how they looked at him as a father figure and things like that. I think Ollie worked at United for a while because the way he is, I see him as this loving, father-like character. He wouldn't get angry. He wouldn't shout. He wouldn't belittle players. And I think that we've then had Ronaldo come in, who is demanding better, who is not happy to settle for second place. These players are probably ecstatic after last season. You know, they got to a European final and they came second in the Premier League. They probably thought they did really well. And then you have, you know, a lion like Ronaldo come in, tell them this ain't good enough. You know, you lot are playing shit. We can't accept, you know, losses or draws here, there, and everywhere. We need to win. You know, I think he got a lot of the players' backs up. And I thought we saw that with players like Greenwood, for example. I thought Greenwood was a perfect example of a player that he was so mardy, his back was up. He wasn't happy about Ronaldo being here. And I think that was because instead of having that lovely, cuddly father figure like Ollie, I think he's then had someone come in saying, stop fucking shooting. You're not doing well here. This is not good enough. And I can imagine it probably, you know, definitely ruffled feathers within those players. I don't know if Ronaldo's had any impact on, you know, players that he thinks should start and not start. I would imagine, obviously I don't know, but I would imagine if Ronaldo had impact on players that would start, we would have seen Van de Beek start a lot more, because that is a player that very clearly is technically gifted and can find Ronaldo with a pass. I mean, he came on as a sub, I believe it was against Watford, and his first kick of his first head of the game, he assisted it to Ronaldo, right? So, like, I think it's if he had an impact or if he had a say, I think we'd see a lot different. Potentially with Dalot, that could be one. Maybe Dalot was one that Ronaldo maybe had some kind of say in. Obviously, being Portuguese, they've played together.
Tellez also same language.
Yeah, exactly. Potentially, maybe that we could have seen. Maybe that was Ronaldo's impact. You know, we weren't finding enough crosses at all. So to bring two more technically gifted players in at fullback. But apart from that, no, because we don't see a lineup every week that screams we're trying to find Ronaldo every time. We see a lineup that we've seen almost for the last sort of 2 years, give or take one or two players in each position. And we don't set up to try and feed the ball into Ronaldo. So it makes me think we're not playing to Ronaldo's strengths, nor does Ronaldo have a say on who starts and who plays. Yeah. And especially when Ronaldo gets brought off and he's throwing a tantrum on the sidelines, it's very clear that maybe the manager isn't listening to Ronaldo and he feels like he should.
Yeah. That's it. Nate says, I'm actually starting to think Ole did more harm than good. We didn't win anything of note and he gave too much power to the players. Good vibes FC. A lot of people would echo that. They really would. Quickly back on his comment there. We're all hypothetical comments regarding Donny van de Beek. I understand that. I think it's the frustration that comes out every single time because we see players underperforming. On that Ronaldo impact there, I think he has had a little bit of an impact on Bruno in the opposite way as well, because he was the leader. He's now taken second stage to Ronaldo. Of course, you would. The man who's won everything comes into your team and is your hero as well. You would take a step back, but I do believe now that Bruno is finding his mojo again and starting to adapt to Ronaldo being in the team. Ralph said, like you said then, Haber, we're not building a team around Ronaldo. He's part of a squad. He said this himself. I think Ole was trying to do that. And I'll go back to that super chat that just came up there. Ole doing more bad than good. I think in terms of the players he wanted to bring in, I just didn't think Ole seen Ronaldo coming in and someone it was thrown upon him and didn't know how to handle it. And I think that ultimately was his downfall. The Ronaldo factor finished the manager, in my opinion, in a way, because standards weren't good enough. And when a player like that comes in, who is going to argue against him? Ollie has got no standing against a player like that, which is why I always thought Ollie should have done his job and then just moved on. Should have got rid of Ollie a lot sooner. And I think he would have given another manager, a lot more time to look at this squad instead of having to deal with it in such a short space of time now and upset the fan base because he's not playing, oh, he's going, what a waste. He'll go away and smash it in another country now and make us all look like idiots. I'm afraid that's just what we're in. And Ollie was a big part of that. And that was that. Ollie was the manager then. Carrick's had a go. Ranieri's in now. Who is coming in the summer though, Haber? Because apparently we are looking to and even possibly announce the new manager before this season is out. So United are actually out there now looking at managers. You mentioned Ten Hag before, mate. I'm going to write off Brendan Rodgers right now because he's failing at Leicester. I don't think he's even going to be in contention. But is it Ten Hag for you? Do you feel like he is the ideal manager coming in after Ralph and what Ralph's done?
I think so, yeah. I think Ten Hag is my first choice. More so because I would like to see some of that Ajax DNA implemented into United. And to be honest, what I would like to see, I'd like to see Ten Hag come in, and I wouldn't mind seeing Van der Sar follow, because I know Van der Sar is doing a good job at Ajax. And I would like to see both of them come over, because I've seen a few quotes here and there from Van der Sar, and he's still got a lot of love for the club, and I think he could do a good job upstairs. And I think, if we brought Ten Hag in, I think second choice would probably be Poch. And I know there's a lot of people that disagree with that, because he's not doing the world's best job here at PSG with all the superstars they've got. And also, you can maybe say he failed at Tottenham just before his sacking. But I think people forget he also was inches away from winning the league with that Tottenham squad that was below par, in my opinion. Same can be said with the Champions League. He got to the final rung on the ladder. And unfortunately, I think this squad just wasn't good enough to beat that incredible Liverpool squad. You look at stats for Pochettino. I think he had the best stats for running out of any Premier League team when he was in the Premier League. He was given little to no money to spend every season. I think he could do a good job. So if we were to settle for Poch over Ten Hag, don't think it's the worst thing in the world. God hope we don't get Brendan Rodgers. I don't think he's a bad manager, but why do we want a fucking Liverpool manager? The guy managed Liverpool. He's not yes, he won an FA Cup and he's bottled a few top fours with Leicester. Why the fuck would we want Brendan Rodgers? Why? I don't it doesn't make sense to me. I think he's a shite. He's not a shite manager, but he's a shite choice for Man United. God forbid, I don't want him anywhere near the club. I've seen a few names mentioned on the list that I don't even know. So for me, the two contenders I would say would be Poch and Ten Hag. And if I could choose, I'd have Ten Hag. That would be my choice personally.
Yeah, I think I've always said Ten Hag. He's not said that he's out of the race at all when asked about it. He's had encouraging signs. I've had people tell me in confidence that it will actually be Pochettino who's coming in. I do believe that is the easiest option for the United board, because we know Pochettino would love the Manchester United job. We know he would walk to United from Paris. It's a no-brainer for them. He's got the managerial experience. And I said this the other day on a show I was doing, and I said, look, if there was one team on this planet that had more egos running through it than what Manchester United have, then it's the PSG squad. Pochettino having this season of experience with, let's be honest, the best of the best. He really has had the best of everything. Yeah. From defence to midfield to attack. My God, he's worked with the finest. Mm-hmm. And people will say he's failing, like you said then, hey, but I mean, he's not pulling up trees. It'd be interesting to see how he does against Real Madrid in that round of 16 match in the Champions League. That will be the tie of the round. If he gets through that, and he obviously will get the League One title under his belt, he'll get that trophy under his belt. Then coming in, I think with, like you said, Abel, how he works with youth, do you reckon United could be looking at it going, Pochettino actually fits the bill in terms of bringing youth players through and developing players more? Because I've said it before, the marquee signing for Manchester United never seems to work, mate. Them days are sort of gone. Yeah. We sort of make players at this football club, and that's where I think, prime example, I know it's a one-off, you mentioned the Brentford game. I touched on it outside the game. I went Elanga, Rashford, Greenwood, a man of the match from McTominay. I was thinking 4 academy players. that's like the old United. That's like dreamland for Man United fans. Do you reckon the club are looking at that side of it? Do you think they'll listen to the fans?
Potentially. I see it as, for me, I think, like, I know a lot of United fans do not want Poch. They don't want
Oh
Poch.
yeah, I know.
But the way I look at it, we have bar Ronaldo, a very young squad. Realistically, we've got youth talent everywhere. Like you say, the Carrington performance, shall we say, at Brentford, that was all youth, really. Yeah. And I think Poch is the kind of manager that would do very well with the team that we have. I think he's not doing as well as he could do at PSG, because when you have so many egos and so many superstars in one team like that, I think the kind of manager you need is someone like a Zidane, someone who is so prestigious, high and mighty, you never question them. You know, he tells you and you listen, kind of thing. And although we have one or two superstars at United, I don't think it's anywhere near the level of PSG. And I think when we have so many young players that are hungry for positions, Poch is the kind of manager I think that would get the best out of them. And I think that, you know, I thought he did a good job at Spurs with the little to no funding that he had and the little to no resources he had in comparison to other teams in the Premier League. I don't think he did a bad job at all. And I think he could do a good job for United. Do I think he would be someone I'd want for 10 years? No, but I do think he would, I think he'd win a trophy at United, and I think that he wouldn't do a bad job. But the one thing I'm worried about, like, I'm so sick of, as a United fan, settling for second best. Like, I bloody well want Ten Hag, and I think most United fans are in the same boat as me. And we're Man fucking United, mate. We should be getting the best. We should be getting our first choice. And it pains me that I'm almost preparing myself for the second choice, because I'm sick to death of these standards. Like, we should be getting the first choice. We should be getting the best of the best every time. And unfortunately, we're in a position now where we almost can't. And it annoys me to think about, because if we were, if we were, as we think ourselves, the sort of club we think that we are, we go out and get Ten Hag. We would go out and get the best manager available. Man City, if Pep was leaving in the summer, would probably go and get Ten Hag. Or they would get whoever the best available is if Ten Hag wasn't available, kind of thing. So, and I don't think that we will, and it infuriates me, to be honest. And I know it's obviously that our shite owners and our shite board, but I'm almost like a child throwing his toys out the pram. I'm so sick to death of second place and second best in everything that we do at the moment that I just want the fucking best, to be honest. That's all I want.
Well, that's it. You mentioned it there, because obviously next year Pep will be leaving City, and I guarantee the Ten Hag is on the market. They will be looking at him. So why would you not look at the blueprint of a successful club like City has been over the last few years? But arrogantly, like you said, and stubbornly, United have to do it the United way. And like you said then, mate, it's a fair point. It doesn't look like they're looking at the best in class. We've never looked at the best in class. Whenever we've made these marquee signings or these big signings, they've been past it. I mean, there's Latans, the Schweinsteigers, the Ronaldos, Cavani, Falcao, all these players, we didn't get them when we should have got them. It was like a cop-out signing in a way.
Yeah.
And I do feel like United have missed out on Klopp, they missed out on Pep, they missed out on the best managers when they should have been looking for them, and they should have been in for them. But we stuck to, well, I'll bring in even Conte into that equation. We should have looked at Conte when we had the perfect opportunity to. But ultimately, it comes down to United now looking, are trying to act like a Liverpool or a City. And it pains me to say that, but they're the blueprints that work. They're the ones. You've got to get that manager. You have to get that manager's team in with him, and then you have to give him what he needs to make it work. If we're an elite club, you should be able to do that. And I totally agree with you on that one, Haber, mate. I'm just going to bring in a couple of super chats here just before we finish up. Nate back in with a super chat. Cheers, mate. Darren Fletcher, every time McTominay pings one of those diagonal balls, he reminds me of Scholes. Yeah, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that one, but that's not one for me. But yeah, that is just like worrying. That's the old standards comment again, isn't it, Haber, mate? That's what it is all about. And I think we've just fallen below it, mate, big time. And we've let teams pass us by, and now we're playing catch up ourselves, mate.
I agree. I thought Ollie did a good job at steadying the ship. However, he kept the ship a bit too straight, and we hit an iceberg, I feel like. And I think he
Wouldn't know,
maybe, yeah, I think he maybe should have gone 18 months ago. That's when we should have really brought in somebody that can make a difference to the squad and that can get that squad. I really think if we'd have got rid of Ollie and brought in a better manager 18 months ago, I honestly think we would have won the league last year, because it was a league that Liverpool were in shambles. Man City had that awful start to the league. Chelsea got top 4 by losing the last game of the season. Like, that was honestly it was a shambolic year. That should have been our year had we had anyone but Ollie. Unfortunately, we held on to him for a bit too long, and then we let go of him sort of 16 months too late, unfortunately. And I think now we need to play it right, because the roadmap that they put down, bringing in Ranić as the interim and then him taking a position upstairs, it makes sense. It makes footballing sense. And I think that if we follow this roadmap and we bring in a proper top tier coach in the summer, someone that can mold their style of football on the team, maybe bring in a couple of signings to strengthen where we need to strengthen, we could be looking at a solid charge next year. But if the Glazers glazer this up again, as they always do, unfortunately, I can see us doing the same thing, and in 18 months' time, we'll be saying the exact same thing we're saying now. And as much as I want to hold out hope and be optimistic, I'm just not anymore with this club. I'm just not.
And on that bombshell, we are going to round up the video, guys. Cheers for everyone in the comment section. Absolutely banging comments again. Don't forget to hit the like button on the video and do subscribe to the United Stand. As always, we got loads of content coming up in the build-up to deadline day, even though it's going to be a anticlimax day for United fans, in my opinion. And Habers as well, going off what he said. But Haber, cheers. Great to have you back on, mate. Hopefully we can get you back on again soon, buddy. Absolutely brilliant video, and can't wait to do some more. I mean, it is going to be one crazy week for a lot of teams, but I just don't see it being it for United, guys. But thanks for tuning in with us, everybody. We will be back later at 8 o'clock. I think Mark is back on tonight, and then I will see you guys through the week as well. But for now, everybody, cheers for watching. See you later.
Bye-bye.